Okay, listen up. Here comes some wisdom. Our ecological situation is both extremely broad in terms of all of the information and topics it includes, and extremely deep in terms of the amount that we humans, as humanity, know in relation to all of the different topics that fall under what we might call ecology. So it follows from that if you were to become an ecologist or an environmentalist, let's just use them synonymously, that an awful lot would be required of you to learn about the various different topics that fall under the category of ecology. And that prospect of having to learn all of that information in depth as well can be quite overwhelming. And so you're faced with a crossroads. You have a choice to make. You can either choose to continue on that pathway of learning, or you can choose to opt out and simply go with the flow. Just do pretty much as society, whatever society demands of you, or whatever is the most easiest, the most culturally sanctioned, easiest, well-worn groove. This is what you will fall into. This is called the default mode, if you so choose. So we have the crossroads, and we have the pathway of the majority, which is the default mode, and we have the alternative route, which is the route that you will take if you want to increase your knowledge of ecology and the environment or environmental science. But it is far easier to opt out of that choice and simply go with the flow. And that's why the default mode is the default mode, and that's why it is also called the pathway of the majority. So if you take that pathway of the majority, you will become just like everybody else, because there's a certain set of circumstances or selective pressures imposed on you as you take that pathway, and it molds you as a human into a specific type of person that can fulfill the role that society requires of you. And so basically everybody in that category looks the same, behaves the same, thinks the same, talks the same. It's all very similar, if not similar, the same. Whereas if you opt to take the alternative route, you are exposed to a random set of circumstances determined by the stochasticity of your life, determined by the weirdness of wherever your life takes you. This random set of circumstances elicits out of you certain responses. It causes you to develop and cultivate innate capacities that you know you have within, but that aren't stimulated sufficiently to become developed when you opt to go down the default mode route. So that's what happens when you take the alternative route. Those idiosyncratic innate capacities that make you a unique human being are stimulated to grow and develop, and you make your way through life. You navigate this world after having done that, or the process of doing that is your navigation of this life and world. So that's the crossroads, and that's what happens when you take this path, and that's what happens when you take that path. So how do we make it that we as individuals continuously opt to take the alternative route? Because, make no mistake about it, the temptation to regress and simply go back to the default mode is ever present. How do we ensure that we make choosing the alternative route a reflexive response? So to do this, let me use an analogy borrowed from self-development space. This is the idea of the anti-vision. if you can define an anti-vision in enough detail such that you become sufficiently scared of the type of person you will become should you opt to go down the default mode route every time. If you can describe that anti-vision and make it clear, detailed in your own mind, then you have something to avoid, something pushing you from behind, ensuring that you choose to go down the alternative route. Now, coupled with this is your vision that of the type of person you could become should you opt to take the alternative route every time. So you have your anti-vision pushing you from behind and your vision pulling you from in front. This, I believe, is what it's going to take for us as humans, as humanity, to deal with the ecological problems, the meta problem that we have before us. Good luck.